Hello, everyone. This is Clay Chase with Torrey Hills Capital. I'd like to welcome you to the Element 29 Resources Update for June 30th, 2025. I hope you're all enjoying a great summer. Now, as you already know, most of you, Element 29 Resources, a copper exploration company, trades on the OTC under the ticker EMTRF. On the TSX Venture, the ticker is ECU. Today, we're going to dive into the most recent development at E29, where they announced last week results from a large-scale magneto-telluric, or MT, survey at the company's flagship Elida project, which is located in the central region of Peru, wherein they announced a multiple series of large MT anomalies. We're going to dive into what that means in today's podcast. The company's reported a NI 43101 copper resource of 321 million tons, grading 0.32 copper, 0.029 moly, 2.6 grams per ton silver, and a low strip ratio. But this new MT survey could really shine an entirely new light in the company's future upside potential, which we'll be discussing in detail today. With us today to discuss these results is the company's founder and CEO, Mr. Richard Osmond. Hi, Richard. How are you today?
Thank you, Clay. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Well, thanks for coming on the program today. Now, I'd like to start things out with a movie quote from an early Taylor Sheridan movie, Sicario. Well, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but
I
Benicio
have.
del Toro's. Have you seen it?
I have, yes.
It's a
Good
great
movie.
movie, right? So
Yeah.
he's telling his the new FBI agent when they're on the private jet. He says, "You're asking me how to watch works. For now, we'll just keep an eye on the time." So why I bring that up and what I mean by that is I really like to focus today's program on not on the background science of MT surveys, how they work, how you did this one, but really unpack what this data tells you about kind of what lies below the surface of Elida. In other words, this picture that I have up on the screen right now looks to be telling a story millions of years in the making in a language that us non-geotypes don't really understand. And can you translate this information for us in non-technical terms that a fourth grader can understand so we can get a sense of what we're looking at here, and more importantly, the importance of this new information and building value of Elida project for shareholders. And I think you wanted to put up a screen of your own at this point in time. So I'm going to stop sharing mine and let you.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Tell me
looks
if that
great.
works.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So thanks, Clay. That was a good intro. Certainly, Element 29 has been exploring in Peru for quite a long period of time, and we've been able to advance our Elida copper moly silver deposit, and the MT survey is just part of that progress, looking to basically outline the entire footprint of the hydrothermal system that's resulted in the formation of the Elida deposit, and what that looks like. So just to let you know that we will be making forward-looking statements, which we think are reasonable, but should not be unduly relied upon. So please get your readers to read through the cautionary notes associated with this.
We'll have the AI bots read that for us.
There you go. So the Elida project, as you know, sits on the western side of the Cordillera in Peru. It was we're looking to develop world-class projects, tier one discoveries in a world-class mining jurisdiction. The project itself, you can see where the drill is located, is in the Atacama Desert. So, no cattle, no ranching, no agriculture. Community sits about 10K away. So it's ideally located for mine development. It's at a low elevation and everything you need to be able to put together a low-cost strategic operation in this part of the world. And Peru, being a world-class mining jurisdiction, is a place where a lot of major mining companies are looking to explore and develop mines. So jumping right into the MT results, you can see on the left is a diagram that sort of shows in little tiny upside down triangles the location of these MT stations. And we did about 122 stations with about 10 repeats just for data validation. And we're able to map out a huge hydrothermal footprint of the system. It shows up as being red magenta colors, which is mapping what we call resistivity. And what the MT is really good at is mapping out the conductivity structure or resistivity structure of the ground. And the Earth itself is really a conductor relative to space. So whenever you have more conductive material, current seems to flow through that better like an aquifer, and then that generates a response that you can measure from the surface. So what we have been trying to do is sort of map out the hydrothermal footprint of the Elida deposit down to like 2+ kilometers. And the MT has come back and done that in a very good results that we feel certainly validate and provide us with a lot of really good information about the Elida deposit. We've always felt that, where we're currently drilling is what I would say, and we've used this a lot, is like the tip of the iceberg, where we're really just getting into the upper part of the system. And in what we feel is that this data itself is actually really showing that this system has potential to be significantly bigger than what we've already outlined. You can see on the left where we have anomalies 3, 2, 5, and 6, and also 4. These are resistivity lows, which we also show on the right side in section. And the section line is A prime, which you can see, we call it the MT section line in the plan map. And you can also see that the colors on the left are related to the 1,450 meter plan level slice through the data. And so it sort of gives you an idea of where we sit, the section sits relative to the plan map. And you can see it goes right through the Elida deposit, which you can see in the outline of the pit. And obviously yellow to magenta shows an increase in grade within inside that pit. And what you can sort of see very well is that the anomaly 2 correlates very well with the mineralization, as well as anomaly 4 on the north and south sides of the pit. And what's really interesting is that we've always known that the MT would be very useful in mapping out the hydrothermal footprint of the system. And the intent was to use that information to be able to map where the porphyry intrusive complex is intruding into the host sediments. So, and where that contact occurs is generally where most of the copper mineralization occurs within a porphyry copper system.
I have
And
a question
we see
for you,
that very
Richard.
clearly.
A quick question for you here. So what we're looking at is kind of the transition zones where it goes from like green to yellow to red to purple to blue. That's kind of the transition area between the height where the porphyry came up and the host rock, and the hydrothermal systems kind of maybe left a lot of the copper chalcopyrite material behind when it was active in here.
Yeah, so you can sort of see in hole 33, which is drilled in this area, it correlates very well with this resistivity high. And, but the mineralization, but this is primarily within you get porphyry intrusive material coming in here. You also have intensely skarn altered and potassic altered sediments, and that makes up all of the sort of what we call the porphyry intrusive complex. So it's a
Mhm.
series of intrusions and fingers and dikes of porphyry that have come in and sort of injected into the host rocks, and it produces that potassic alteration. So where you see the mineralization occur is usually along the contact with that porphyry and also within the porphyry itself. So it gives you a pretty good idea of the footprint of the system. So in our case, if you look at that section, we're looking at close to 3 to 5 kilometer long by 3 to 5 kilometer wide target area that we expect to be able to sort of explore within that hydrothermal footprint for more copper mineralization, I would say.
Well, that's pretty dramatic because it's a much, much larger area, both on the surface as well as in this cross-sectional view as to depth, like in the z-axis of what you already have in the 321 million tons, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're really. I mean, if you look at hole 33 again, I mean, the bottom part of that hole intersected, 310 meters of 0.71, and the hole
Right.
ended in high grade mineralization. So we feel that we can expand that hole and continue drilling it deeper. And we should go cut across that transition between the high resistivity to low. But what's really interesting as we go deeper, I mean, we're seeing the zonation in the mineralization where we're seeing much more higher grade copper mineralization compared to we call it pyrite, which is sort of a lower temperature mineral that comes in. So when you start to see the copper, which is very iron rich, so when you see the copper to iron ratio start to increase, it sort of tells you you're getting into the sweet spot of the system. And it's really interesting to see that we're transitioning out of that high resistivity into low. So there's good potential to be able to get into better mineralized porphyry material as you go deeper here, which is very
So as you
exciting.
take that hole deeper into the kind of the green, yellow, and the red, that you might be really hitting some much higher grade or higher grade
Yeah, certainly that's the
transition
case.
zone.
We would hope to see that. I mean, we still have to drill it. So the plan
Of
really is to
course.
go in and open up hole 33 and continue to drill it from the hole was shut down in at about 1,109 meters depth. So we're going to extend that hole down to about 1,500 meters to try and get a really good handle on the zonation and whether or not there is potential for a higher grade, bornite zone as we go deeper down.
So this survey really kind of confirmed what you'd already seen with the drill bit in terms of the copper mineralization in those zones, which probably gives you a lot of confidence when you see other zones that look similar to that in this survey, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, when you see the MT results correlate very well with what's inside the pit, it gives you a lot of comfort in being able to extrapolate outside of there. And you can really see the higher grade does correlate well with that transition zone
Sure.
near
Kind of
the
like
upper part.
gives you kind of an index or like a heat map signature of what you expect where the really good stuff's going to be.
Yeah, that's right. As you get further out, I mean, the temperatures drop and you get more pyrite. So we call it the pyritic halo of the system. So the MT is really designed to map where that alteration starts and ends. And
Right.
the highest temperature part is the porphyry itself, which is also probably the highest resistivity if you're into the potassic part of the system. And you can see from the diagram on the section on the right. I mean, the porphyry like the porphyry intrusive complex itself is ballooning out as you go deeper, which is what you want to see.
Right.
And it has a much larger footprint. I mean, you're looking at with inside the pit, you're looking at about 1K by 1K, but when you go deeper down, it turns into like a 3K by 3+K system.
Yeah,
So it gives you a lot more room to be able to grow that system at depth.
when we first saw these pictures, which I think are extremely dramatic, but our first takeaway was, well, you take the 321 million tons and you can kind of take that area and you look at how many of those would fit into both the cross-sectional surfaced area and then how many you could fit into the three-dimensional breadth of this anomaly group of anomalies. I mean, you start to really like some people tell me dream in color here, actually, as to what we might be looking at. So for us, it's kind of like taking a deep sea diving rover that goes down 2 or 3 miles into the ocean and it shines a light on what's down there. And that's kind of what this survey allows you to do, right?
Yeah, I think for the most part, the survey itself, you collect the data, you put it into a 3D inversion process, you come up with an apparent resistivity model, and that model you generally reflects very well what's happening underground. And we're very excited to see that it correlates well with the mineralization and the
Uh,
porphyry itself, and it shows lots of room to expand this system. And
Now,
even if you look at the diagram to the left, we have anomaly 6, and we haven't
yeah,
like our section goes through that, but we really haven't tried to highlight that yet. It's outside of the area where we've been currently exploring,
sure.
but we've done some early work in there, and we know that the system extends to the north. We just haven't done enough work to be able to, um, you know, uh, understand fully what's happening there, but it's pretty exciting. I mean, this thing has potential to be 5 to 6 kilometers longer than we expected, extending
Wow.
to the north.
Yeah, if you take that MT, that line, that A prime line, and you rotate that a couple of degrees clockwise, you'd go right, transect that zone 6, and that picture on the right would look quite a bit different. I'm sure it'd be almost all purple and blue, right?
It would be.
Yeah. Now, have you been able to generate one of those 3D models that we could spin around like a Google Earth picture yet on this data?
We have put the 3D model, the resistivity model, into a 3D package to where we can look at it with respect to the existing drilling and resources, and that's where we got the section on the right.
Is that
And so
is that something
so
you're going to make available for the rest of us to look at some point?
yeah, we will definitely have that available and likely put it into 3D as a video or some kind of voxel that can
Great.
be sort of looked at.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think overall it'll certainly show even clearer what the upside potential is for the system. And it's really hard to project the three-dimensional, you know, three-dimensional model into 2D. So
Of
we're
course.
just trying to show what we think we understand the best out of the system so far, and trying to avoid what we don't understand, and presenting that until we have a better idea of what it is actually telling us.
Right. Well, well, real estate's all about location, location, location. And we see that applies a lot to the mining industry as well. Like, where do you find it? What's nearby? What's not nearby? Um, And you said a little bit about that at the beginning of the podcast, but when you really break Elida down, it's kind of in that Goldilocks zone. It's the porridge isn't too hot or too cold. It's maybe just right. You're close enough to everything. You got roads, power, water right next to you, basically. You've got a very short haul road to get to deep water ports for your concentrates, whoever does, if it's put into a mine situation. And you also are far enough away from things that you don't want to be close to, which is, high population levels, farming, et cetera, et cetera. So also there's the arsenic component that a lot of people miss. Maybe talk a bit about that. I mean, is it still something you believe this is a low arsenic type of project?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is a very conventional copper moly silver deposit that we've seen so far, and the moly content has been the arsenic content has been relatively low, very low actually. And we haven't done the met work yet, but we expect
Uh-huh.
because of the mineralogy that there will be very little arsenic in a potential concentrate that we produce, just because there isn't a lot of arsenic in the system, and most of the arsenic minerals that we see probably wouldn't report to a copper concentrate.
Right.
So that gives
Well,
us pretty good comfort and confidence that the metallurgical work would prove to be quite good for to produce a really clean con.
Well, for those non-geotypes listening today, if you have arsenic in your ore, it's not good. The smelters do not want to see your concentrate show up on their docks. In fact, it has to be removed prior to them smelting it for the most part because it can be very toxic in the surrounding areas for those who are smelting those type of ores. So that's a really good another added benefit value driver for Elida. So you kind of tell us that's a great overview of what this tells you and the size and breadth of this kind of these hydrothermal zones around your already known resource. Can you tell us a bit about the drilling that you have upcoming and what's next? What can we look forward to over the next couple of months, quarter or two?
Yeah, so we put together sort of a drill program. We're going to go in and we already have a resource on the books, and we want to definitely to continue to extend out from what we know to what we don't know. We still have a drill permit in place that's still valid under a current FTA, which allows us to drill from over 20 platforms. We've used up pretty much all of those, so we're in the process of increasing the permitting from a 20 platform to a 40 platform. But
Oh,
the existing platform is still, or the existing permit is still good for a year, so we can get in and continue to complete our phase 3 program. You can see where the holes are laid out. You can see where hole 33 is located.
Right.
And the lower part of that hole intersected, like I said, 310 meters of 0.71, but the entire hole ran like 1,040 meters of 0.54 copper equivalent grade, right? A
That's like
hole
world class.
35. Absolutely. It's very hard to find deposits in the world where you can drill, over 1,000 meters of point 0.4 copper. Um, and then, with the moly and silver credits, you can get over 0.5% copper equivalent grade.
Right.
Hole
That,
35, same thing. This hole was shut down, mineralization again, going into the holiday season in late 2024. Had like, 922 meters of 0.54 copper equivalent grade. Hole 25, which was drilled back in, I think it was 2022, had over 900 meters of 0.54. So we're starting to see a really good trend. And what's really neat is that, the trend of the higher grade mineralization is actually vectoring us out into this target one area.
right.
And we're really excited about getting in and drilling hole 33 and seeing where that goes. And, hopefully starting to see a zonation to a higher copper rich zone. They call it a bornite rich zone, which is, you know, um, essentially as you go deeper into the system, you get into the potassic zone. Within the potassic zone, as you get closer to the intrusion itself, the temperatures increase and you start to see higher grade copper minerals forming, such as bornite, and that
Mhm.
increases the copper grades within the system.
Well,
So that's really exciting.
one of the things we always note about Elida, and you see a lot of these, other companies in, Argentina and places like that, Chile, they have thousands, 1,000 meters of, high grade or point 0.5 or more, but they start at like 1,000 meters deep. Whereas you guys start at surface and go down 1,000 meters. That's a pretty key differentiator for you guys, right? Because that top half's really where you need to start making some money right away, right?
Yeah, that's right. If you can start open pitting, 0.5% copper grade, which is what we do have it outcropping on surface in around where hole 33 was drilled from, you can start to get capital payback to be able to cover the costs of putting that mine into production. And
Right.
once that's all paid for, then the costs of going in and looking for developing other um, parts of the deposit become much cheaper, right? You're not having to spend all of your money developing these zones without actually getting cash flow coming in. So once you start getting cash flow, you can use some of those funds to go in and start to
Go
develop
underground.
other
Yeah,
parts of the deposit.
that
Yeah.
that's a really key benefit that you guys have there at Elida. So we see lots of opportunity, and we wish you great fortunes with this next drill program. Anything you'd like to share before we wrap up here today?
Yeah, thanks, Clay. We're really excited about getting in and continuing to expand this system. We've always known it's a big system. We've seen it in the work that we've done so far, and we're excited about getting back in and continuing to drill. Getting the new permit in place, and every day is sort of highlighting an opportunity to sort of uh, significantly expand that resource base, and we're excited and looking forward to
Great.
doing that.
Well, we are as well. Lots to look forward to. The copper market seems to be churning along here, close to between 4.50 and $5 a pound. A lot of people are expecting that number to continue to go higher over time. But even if it stays in this range, I mean, it's a very big market, good market to be in. We'll look forward to having you back on very soon. We'll also look forward to that three-dimensional Google Earth model of this new MT survey. When you get that available, please let us know when that is available so we can send that along to everyone. If you have additional information you'd like to find out about Element 29, their website is www.e29copper.com. Richard, thanks so much for coming on today. This is going to go up to our YouTube channel, and we'll look forward to having you on again real soon.
Okay, thank you very much, Clay. Really appreciate the time.
You bet. Thank you. Bye, everyone, for now, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.